Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about some basic concepts of chemistry. In this first class, we are going to discuss about the contribution of India in the development of chemistry. So before we are going to see about this contribution, first you should know what is meant by chemistry. Yes, everyone knows that it is the science of molecules and their transformations. That is chemistry. So what is a molecule? What is an atom? What is a matter? So all those things we will see one by one. But before that, we should know the importance of chemistry, how our ancient peoples are well known about this chemistry. So the first objective in this lesson is actually we should appreciate the contribution of India in the development of chemistry, understand the role of chemistry in different spheres of life. So in ancient India, chemistry was actually called like this. So what is the thing? It is actually including metallurgy. Yes, we know that medicine, cosmetics manufacturing, glass manufacturing, dyes manufacturing, all those things. So one by one, we know history also, but a little bit, I'm not going deeper into this, just an outline of this, how our ancient people know chemistry and they used chemistry for their day-to-day life. Yes, we know this in the Samavalli Nagarikam. So it is an archaeological finding shows that backed bricks were used for the construction work. So they know the production of pottery. So now it is actually a big industry. It's a chemical process. It is the earliest chemical process. Here the materials were mixed, molded and heated. Again heating, a number of processes are there. So that is the first thing. That's Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Sindhu Samavali, Nagadrigam, all those things. And gypsum is also used. And metals were used also. The number of glass objects that is also used. And copper metallurgy. That is beginning of Chalcolithic culture. What is meant by Chalcolithic means? That is the usage of metals. So before that stones were used. And in this Chalcolithic age, people used metals, and the main metals they used were copper, iron, gold. So from this age onwards, they used many metals and alkali compounds, acidic materials, and they prepare a number of cosmetics, glasses and finishing materials, polishing, everything was done. So we know Veda, Rig Veda, and in that Rig Veda, tanning of leather and dyeing of cotton. These were practiced, see the year before Christ, before 1000. The gold and glass of black polished ware, if you are seeing that black polished ware, so this is the polished ware. So in that age itself, how they carried out this? What was the material that was actually used to polish such type of, so this type of finishings we can't able to see now. So without the machines, they may use the machines, but this type of, that is actually the golden gloss of the black polished wares of northern India. It is still a chemical mystery. And then Arthasastra, Kaudilya Arthasastra, it describes the production of salt from sea. So how can you evaporate that and how can you convert the seawater into the salt that we are using? And then when you are seeing the copper utensils, and then you know the famous medicines doctor Sushruta, he explains the importance of alkalis. So in majority of the materials we used drugs, we used the alkali materials, and then the Charaka Shamkita how they prepare the acids, sulfuric acid, nitric acid and oxides. So they use the different types of metals, not only metals, their oxides also. How they can prepare their oxides, the metals, when they react with the acids, it gives the oxides and that. And then Rashopanishada. This describes the preparation of gunpowder. That is actually fireworks. The preparation of fireworks were also there. And then Nagarjuna, he was a metallurgist. So he formulated the mercury compounds. So mercury compounds, we know, mercury compounds actually used in many medicines. Even though when it combines with mercury, combines with the metals, it is actually called as amalgam, gold amalgam, silver amalgam. So mercury has the capacity, when mercury falls on a gold, it will be converted, the gold color, you can see that, the gold color will be completely disappear and it will be white. So mercury, but if we can remove that mercury, if we are using copper sulfate and if we are scratch it out, then that will be scrapped up and you can reclaim that gold once again. So that is a thing. But he used this amalgam for medicinal purposes, and even now we are using the mercury for many drugs. And Chakrabani, he discovered mercury sulfide and he discovered soap also. So in soap we know that alkali is the major constituent and oil. So what is this Mahua plant? Mahua plant, it is nothing but, this is Yeluppai Maram. This is Mahua plant. So these seeds were actually used. The oil that is actually recovered from these seeds, they used for the preparation of soap. Not only this, mustard oil were also used. And then we know that the Ajanta and Ellora paintings, that's actually green chemistry, natural extracts. That is how they can extract the compounds that is present in green leaves. That is extraction of metals and compounds from the plants. So that were used for paintings, not only paintings, for varnishing and then for painting the walls, for inner decoration, for all these things they use that. And then Atharva Veda. So it actually mentioned about the dyes. The material used were turmeric. We know that turmeric is actually how useful now. Turmeric, sunflower, or piment. So all those things, these were dyes. So these dyes were used for many purposes. And then Varaha Mihir's Brihad Samhita. So Brihad Samhita actually gives references to our perfumes and cosmetics. See that the recipes for hair dyeing from plants like indigo and minerals like iron powder. Even now when we are putting Meghandi, if we are using iron vessels for preparing that, then the extracting power is actually increased. So black iron or steel or acidic extracts of sour rice, ruble, so all those things. How can you dye your hair? And then a number of scents, perfumes, and then mouth perfumes also, bath powders, talcum powders, smell powders, all those things. And then colors of ink were made from chalk. In the 17th century, Chinese actually traveled to India and they used, the ink was used in India from the 4th century, not only from 17th century. They told that in the 17th century only they told, okay, in India they use the ink from 4th century. And then Gaudilya's Arthasastram. It's various types of liquors. So Somarasam is actually one example for that. So how they prepared these liquors, all those things that we know. And then Paramanu, that is comparable to atoms. And then here we should know two things. You can convert small size particles into a large size particles. At the same time, you can decrease the size of the particles from a large size to small size. That is nanotechnology. So when we are seeing that, that was also used in our ancient history, that nanotechnology. So see here, the concept of the reduction of particle size of metals, that is clearly displayed in Charaka Samhita. So that is the extreme reduction of particle size is termed as nanotechnology. Now, this nanotechnology is used in all the fields, not only in technical fields, medicinal, cosmetics, so drug delivery, not only drugs, in drug delivery also nanomaterials, nanotechnology. So what is the difference between nanoscience and nanotechnology? Means nanoscience means it is the study of that materials. And technology, if you are using that materials for some practical applications, if you are converting that into a materials or system, that is actually called as nanotechnology. And we know that in medicines, in Ayurveda and Siddha medicines, they give pashpams. So we know even MGR ate Thanga pashpam. So it increases the glow of the skin and it increases the immunity power. Even from our ancient culture, we have one thing, that is, if we eat, first preferable one is, we should eat with the vaala ilayila saapidam. So that is the best one. If it is not that, you can eat with the silver plates. I am not talking about this ever silver. I am talking about the pure silver plates. So when we are eating in the silver plates and drinking milk, hot milk or hot water with this silver tumblers, that silver nanoparticles will go into our body and it will increase the immunity power. And not only this, why our ancient peoples, not only from ancients, not only our ancient peoples, but today also we are wearing a number of gold and silver ornaments. So why we are wearing all these ornaments? Because these ornaments slowly, it actually the dissolves, that it's actually என்ன சொல்றது, கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா அது நம்ம பாடியில பட்டு பட்டு தேஞ்சு தேஞ்சு அது நம்ம பாடிக்குள்ள தான் போகும். So that is actually slower nano particle நம்ம பாடிக்குள்ள போகும். So it will increase the immunity power of our body. So not only we wear gold, silver and all those things from the ancient. And then yes, this is Charaka Samhita, that is the use of Baspa. Okay, so all these things describes about the metals, the atoms, the salts, the alkalis, the acids, the compounds, all those things. But Western medicinal systems, to see here, after the decline of alchemy, laterochemistry reached a steady state, but it too declined due to the introduction and practice of Western medicinal system in the 20th century. So our Indian chemists were so strong. We have very strong knowledge on chemistry. So when we are using from the morning, from the toothpaste to the milk, everything that contains compounds, atoms, molecules, so all these things contains chemistry. So without chemistry, we can't live. So we can understand this chemistry clearly. So I think you